The noble man is chiefly concerned with wisdom and friendship. Of these, the former is a mortal good, the latter an immortal one. We must free ourselves from the prison of public education and politics. If the gods listened to the prayers of men, all humankind would quickly perish. He who least needs tomorrow will most gladly greet tomorrow. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. Is God willing to prevent evil, but not able? Then he is not omnipotent. Is he able, but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Then whence cometh evil? Is he neither able nor willing? Then why call him God? Why should I fear death? If I am, death is not. If death is, I am not. Why should I fear that which can only exist when I do not? You don't develop courage by being happy in your relationships every day. You develop it by surviving difficult times and challenging adversity. Happiness is man's greatest aim in life. Tranquility and rationality are the cornerstones of happiness. The things you really need are few and easy to come by, but the things you can imagine you need are infinite, and you will never be satisfied. Of all the things which wisdom provides to make us entirely happy, much the greatest is the possession of friendship. Not what we have but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance. We should look for someone to eat and drink with before looking for something to eat and drink. Being happy is knowing how to be content with little. Live your life without attracting attention. If God listened to the prayers of men, all men would quickly have perished, for they are forever praying for evil against one another. Men, believing in myths, will always fear something terrible, everlasting punishment as certain or probable. Men base all these fears not on mature opinions, but on irrational fancies, that they are more disturbed by fear of the unknown than by facing facts. Peace of mind lies in being delivered from all these fears. He who has peace of mind disturbs neither himself nor another. Pleasure is the first good, it is the beginning of every choice and every aversion, it is the absence of pain in the body and of troubles in the soul. Death does not concern us, because as long as we exist, death is not here, and when it does come, we no longer exist. In a philosophical dispute, he gains most who is defeated, since he learns most. The misfortune of the wise is better than the prosperity of the fool. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it, and the loss of false joys secures to us a much better possession of real ones. Death is nothing to us, since when we are, death has not come, and when death has come, we are not. The noble soul occupies itself with wisdom and friendship. A man who causes fear cannot be free from fear. We have been born once and there can be no second birth, for all eternity we shall no longer be, but you, although you are not master of tomorrow, are postponing your happiness. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempest. Riches do not exhilarate us so much with their possession, as they torment us with their loss. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Is he able, but not willing? Then he is malevolent. The man least dependent upon the morrow goes to meet the morrow most cheerfully. Freedom is the greatest fruit of self-sufficiency. All friendship is desirable in itself, though it starts from the need of help. Be moderate in order to taste the joys of life in abundance. A strict belief in fate is the worst of slavery, imposing upon our necks an everlasting lord and tyrant, whom we are to stand in awe of night and day. Misfortune seldom intrudes upon the wise man. His greatest and highest interests are directed by reason throughout the course of life. If death causes you no pain when you're dead, it is foolish to allow the fear of it to cause you pain now. The summit of pleasure is the elimination of all that gives pain. We must, therefore, pursue the things that make for happiness, seeing that when happiness is present, we have everything, but when it is absent, we do everything to possess it. Of all the means to ensure happiness throughout the whole life, by far the most important is the acquisition of friends. Do everything like someone is gazing at you. I have never wished to cater to the crowd, for what I know they do not approve, and what they approve I do not know. It is impossible to live a pleasant life, without living wisely and well and justly, and it is impossible to live wisely and well and justly without living a pleasant life. Pleasure is the beginning and the end of living happily. Epicurus taught, pleasure, defined as freedom from pain, is the highest good. Justice is a contract of expediency, entered upon to prevent men harming or being harmed. He who is not satisfied with a little, is satisfied with nothing. The time when most of you should withdraw into yourself, is when you are forced to be in a crowd. Let no one be slow to seek wisdom, when he is young, nor weary in the search of it when he has grown old, for no age is too early or too late for the health of the soul. Death is meaningless to the living, because they are living, and meaningless to the dead, because they are dead. A blessed and indestructible being has no trouble himself, and brings no trouble upon any other being, so he is free from anger and partiality, for all such things imply weakness. The wealth required by nature is limited and is easy to procure, but the wealth required by vain ideals extends to infinity. Only the just man enjoys peace of mind. Pleasure is the beginning and the end of living happily. All other love is extinguished by self-love, beneficence, humanity, justice, philosophy, sink under it. For a wrongdoer to be undetected is difficult, and for him to have confidence that his concealment will continue is impossible. We begin every act of choice, and avoidance from pleasure, and it is to pleasure, that we return using our experience of pleasure, as the criterion of every good thing. To be rich is not the end, but only a change of worries. The fool's life is empty of gratitude and full of fears, its course lies wholly toward the future. Don't fear God, don't worry about death. What is good is easy to get, and what is terrible is easy to endure. We must consider both the ultimate end and all clear sensory evidence, to which we refer our opinions, for otherwise everything will be full of uncertainty and confusion. Self-sufficiency is the greatest of all wealth. When we exist, death is not yet present, and when death is present, then we do not exist. Empty is the argument of the philosopher, which does not relieve any human suffering. He who needs riches least, enjoys riches most. We cannot live pleasantly without living wisely and nobly and righteously. I spit upon luxurious pleasures, not for their own sake, but because of the inconveniences that follow them. Nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little. The acquisition of riches has been for many men, not an end, but a change, of troubles. We must meditate on what brings happiness, since when it has everything, and when he misses, we do everything to have it. Any man who does not think that what he has is more than ample, is an unhappy man, even if he is the master of the whole world. To eat and drink without a friend, is to devour like the lion and the wolf. The wise man thinks of fame just enough to avoid being despised. He who doesn't find a little enough will find nothing enough. The mind that is much elevated and insolent with prosperity, and cast down with adversity, is generally abject and base. The fool, with all his other faults, has this also: he is always getting ready to live. Let nothing be done in your life, which will cause you fear if it becomes known to your neighbor. A beneficent person is like a fountain watering the earth, and spreading fertility. It is, therefore, more delightful to give than to receive. Most beautiful is the sight of those near, and dear to us when our original kinship makes us of one mind. The knowledge of sin is the beginning of salvation. If you would enjoy real freedom, you must be the slave of philosophy. Nothing is sufficient for the person who finds sufficiency too little. Why are you afraid of death? Where you are, death is not; where death is, you are not. What is it that you fear? There is no such thing as justice in the abstract, it is merely a compact between men. Any device whatever by which one frees himself from the fear of others is a natural good. There is nothing to fear from gods, there is nothing to feel in death. Good can be attained, evil can be endured. It is vain to ask of the gods what man is capable of supplying for himself. Let no one delay the study of philosophy, while young, nor weary of it when old. If you wish to make Pythocles rich, do not add to his store of money, but subtract from his desires. Death is nothing to us, for that which is dissolved is without sensation, and that which lacks sensation is nothing to us. Justice is a kind of compact not to harm or be harmed. Thanks be to blessed nature, that she has made what is necessary easy to obtain, and what is not easy unnecessary. Stranger, here you will do well to tarry, here our highest good is pleasure. Pleasure is our first and kindred good, it is the starting point of every choice and of every aversion, and to it we always come back, inasmuch as we make feeling the rule by which to judge of every good thing. The honor paid to a wise man is a great good for those who honor him. I would rather be first in a little Iberian village than second in Rome. Most men are in a coma when they are at rest and mad when they act. A strong belief in fate is the worst kind of slavery. On the other hand, there is a comfort in the thought that God will be moved by our prayers. As if they were our own handiwork, we place a high value on our characters. The guilty man may escape, but he cannot be sure of doing so. Men are so thoughtless, nay, so mad, that some, through fear of death, force themselves to die. Injustice is not evil in itself, but only in the fear and apprehension that one will not escape those who have been set up to punish the offense. The words of that philosopher, who offers no therapy for human suffering, are empty and vain. Without confidence, there is no friendship.